when we're thinking about the ahkam or the rulings around hijrah, I think there's no one size fits all in terms of hijrah. If somebody really finds living here unsustainable, right? Spiritually unsustainable. Like I just can't deal with the fitting of this place. And they decide to go.
Yeah.
I respect that. In fact, I would say like, yo, you're making a choice that is in your own spiritual best interest. Like if a person feels like, look, I cannot do it here, whether it's because I don't like the way my tax dollars are being spent, whether it's because I don't like some of this aggressive proselytization around identity and sexuality, whether it is because I don't like this financial system. All of those are relevant reasons to leave one place and migrate to another. I just feel this incredible sense of mission and purpose here that I don't feel when I travel anywhere else, man. I don't know. I don't know how to get past that.
Yeah. So, Bismillah, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. When you were speaking, I had never heard it put, a feeling that I feel, I had never heard it put so spot on. Like what you were saying was, I felt that before, as if like when I'm here, there's a mission, I have a purpose, there's work to do. And I look at this from a few perspectives. So, you know, I'm at Qalam, right?
Of course. My daughter's at Qalam.
Yeah, mashallah. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah.
She loves your class, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. Ask her how it's going, inshallah. She has to make a schedule. I gave them an assignment to make a schedule because Imam Ghazali speaks about time management. So
Allahu Akbar.
Get on her on that one.
Allahu Akbar.
So here's a few things that I wanna reflect on for everyone. Bismillah. If you think that leaving to another place on this planet Earth in this dunya is going to be Jannah on earth, that ain't happening.
No.
There is going to be mujahada everywhere you go. First thing first, I think there is a romanticization of traveling to the Orient, traveling and roaming the deserts and being amongst I think there's a romanticization of what it's like. I have seen and know multiple people who go, get it out their system. After 7 years, they come back.
Yeah.
And here's a few. I'm going to make this more pointed. On an individual level, I have seen that when it comes to building Iman, we have students at Qalam that have come from Muslim countries whose Iman we need to build up. Because remember this, there is no nifaq. There is no nifaq in Mecca. There's only nifaq in Medina. Let me explain what I mean by that. In the time of the Meccan phase, there was no munafiq because it was too hard to be a Muslim. You don't fake being what's hard to be. But when you get to Medina, there is a social currency to being Muslim. And so you could just be Muslim by name and not have any reality to it. And if you look at some of what we call Muslim countries, because that's my next thing is policies. If you want to talk policy, well, we're going to talk about that separately. But the question is, I have seen youth who have grown up in Muslim countries whose identity as a Muslim is only cultural. Whereas when you choose to practice Islam in America, in a country, there is a conscientious choice to say my name is Muhammad, not Mo. Conscientious choice that this is my deen and I'm representing it. Now, are there some people who get lost in the sauce? Yes. But if you look at the rates of apostasy in places like Saudi Arabia, it's through the roof. If you look at where a lot of the fitnas are coming right now, it's in places where they were suppressed and it was a cultural experience for so long that now when the king or whoever is free, then now we free. What I'm trying to say is this this idea that I'm going to go to this place that the adhan is called publicly, and now my children will be around. Your children, you know, I have this thing with Islamic school. If my kid goes to a public school, I can tell my kid, well, they're not Muslim. That's why they do that. But when they go to Islamic school and your little son Bilal and your son Abdullah curses, now it's like, Dad, but they're Muslim.
Yeah.
I took the family and I wanted my children to experience a Muslim country. So we went to a particular Muslim country over the summer. And the first question was, why are they all smoking, Dad? I thought smoking wasn't supposed to happen for Muslims. Bam, right there. The reality of life. You think you're going to migrate and then all of a sudden you wake up for Fajr? Habibi, wake up for Fajr now. You ain't going to land on the plane and start praying to Hajj because you're in the holy a place where there's the majority of Muslims. So I hate to, and then the other part is they will go, well, our tax money. I can name a number of Muslim majority countries that are pretty buddy with Israel.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
And a number of countries that aren't doing what we would want them to do as a Muslim country for the brothers and sisters in Palestine. So I don't want to get too political because this is a spiritual night, right? This is spiritual night, right? That's what this is supposed to be. but if you're in the army of a certain country and you were sent to Yemen to fight, were you going to fight? You going to go with because the king is Muslim and everybody else, you going to go fight in Yemen? I'm fighting those my Muslim brothers. This nationalism is the problem. And that was with the fall of the Khilafah. I'm not going to get into all that. All I'm trying to say is that I feel I have a mission in this country, and that is to spread this deen. And وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ. We never sent a prophet except that they spoke. And I feel there's this romanticization of I need to go to the Orient and just feel the vibes and sit under the Shaykh's feet. And brother, there's work to do over here, man. There's work to do.
Bismillah.
I agree with what you said. If you know for your iman, it is better for you. Bismillah. Get your visa. MashaAllah. I feel you. I'm just trying to say, don't expect more out of it than what it is. And that's it. I want to hear what your thoughts.
I appreciate that, and I think that as you mentioned, this romanticized notion of living overseas or living abroad, one of the things that it often does is it removes those people from their own historical kind of context and trajectory. That in order for you to have the experience you want, everything about their society has to remain pre-modern, has to be, it's like somebody coming into the Azhar and being angry that they're studying on desk and they're taking tests and what is this? And I get it. But that is a part of that romanticization that you're talking about. That is this idea that even though you live in a place where pedagogical techniques are growing and developing, you want them to teach Islam like it was the 10th century, so that you can get this feeling of authenticity that you want. And it's in that way, it's very exploitative in in quite frankly a very Orientalist way. You mentioned the Orient, but it is very consistent with that okay, even these people are kind of the bit players in this romantic pre-modern Muslim tale that I'm kind of writing in my own mind, right? That's one thing. And I think if a person does move abroad, you want to be, aware of that. The second thing is, in many places, the social safety net in the Muslim world is completely broken. It's not, one thing that I remember being in Egypt. Of course, I lived in Egypt for a very long time, and I was talking to Shaykh Taha Jabr al-Alwani, mashallah, who was very, very forward thinking, very brilliant Islamic thinker. And we were sitting at his place in Zamalek, and he said, if a fire broke out in this neighborhood right now, you would have people running to put water in garbage cans, put water in shoes. Some people would try to bring a pitcher of water. Some people would try to bring a hose. He said, if a fire broke out on any street in America, they would just call the fire department. He said, because we don't have confidence in our social system.
Yes.
It is a broken system, right? And for people to move into those communities, and even though, mashallah, it is beautiful and wonderful to hear the adhan, and as I mentioned, to experience the shi'ar of Islam, but to fail to recognize that there is work to be done there too.
Yes.
See, the thing is, like, if you move there, don't become, a spiritual tourist, just jumping out of the halaqat of Shaykh. What is your mission there? So if you recognize, okay, this is a problem, and maybe I have an administrative skill, or at the very least, an exposure to more edifying ways of socially assembling, what will I do to try and help that community? I remember, living in Yemen, and I lived in Tarim, which is, mashallah, a special place. Man dakhala Tarim kharaja salim, insha'Allah. Right? It's a special place. I live in Tarim. But one of the things that I used to see from some of the local people, hafidhahumullah, may Allah preserve them, is that they used to litter. They would come out of the mahal and just throw the wrappers all over the ground, just throw the trash everywhere. And I said to one of the mashayikh, I said, that plastic is non-biodegradable. It doesn't, like, the earth doesn't break that down. And there's all kinds of petroleum and stuff that goes into making those plastics. Yeah. If that gets into your water supply, it can poison the people. And, mashallah, the Mashaykh, very forward thinking. He said, I don't think people here recognize the danger of littering.
Yeah.
He said, you guys as Westerners should stigmatize this behavior. You should tell them, mutahaddirun, civilized people, don't do that. And I was like, I probably wouldn't say civilized people, but you should say nizam. You should say, if you want to see your society improved, enhanced, enriched, these are some of the practices that you have to let go, right? So I tried that once. I was actually out of my house. I saw a guy, he took the paper, threw the wrap on the ground, and I said to him, Habibna, mutahaddirun la yaf'alun dhalik, yani. Civilized people don't do that.
Yeah.
He said, Anta Amriki? I said, Naam, ana Amriki. Yes. He said, you're American? I said, yes, I'm American. He said, that's the problem with you. You guys only love the dunya.
See?
He confused concern about the natural world with love of the dunya.
Yep.
And it just showed me, man, there is some seriously backwards thinking there. Now, I live on the south side of Chicago. People litter in Chicago. I'm not.
Yes.
This certainly is no Osaka, Japan.
It's just about the idea that that's why I started by saying, don't do hijrah thinking you're going to Jannah.
Yeah, exactly.
There's still work another part of the dunya that has an open khair there, right? A visible khair. Now, I want to add something, Shaykh. Now, everything you said was spot on. And I just want to add on to it, which is, I'm thinking right now about the Islam in America 3 generations from now. Look, Islam went to China, Islam went to Andalus, Islam went to places, and those places developed their cultural experience of the tradition. And we need to build that. And
But you got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with that. There's a good book. There's a good book called Conversion to Islam in the medieval period by a professor from Columbia named Richard Bullitt. And one of his central theses is that the Muslims were minorities in these societies, but they were politically powerful minorities, right?
Yeah.
Here, the difference, and I agree with you. I mean, I agree with your conclusion. We have to do it. Is that we are a minority and the dominant culture politically, economically, artistically, ideologically is something different, is something else, is something that is increasingly becoming hostile to religion, not just hostile to Islam, but hostile to religion. And the fact that some people recognize that, look, it is hard for us to exist inside of this very secular structure. That's a reality, man. Like I can appreciate that. I'll put it to you this way, bro. It's hard to maintain a worldview when you have to explain everything you do to everybody.
Okay.
Much easier to maintain a worldview when this is something that is taken for granted. Everybody knows, this is something. But one of my friends said, when you go to, this is why my daughter is at Cullum right now. They said that, if you show up to a good American college or university, particularly in the humanities departments, and you believe in God, you have some explaining to do. That's scary.
And that's where I started with. I agree. There is a mujahada, a jihad that is necessary to embody living in the West. And I said, living in Mecca, there were no munafiqeen because it was hard. If you repped, you repped, like you were down. I understand the point of living amongst the secular. I appreciate it too. And that's why I'm sympathetic towards it. I'm sympathetic to the idea.
But just to give you your props, give Cullum their props, give Dallas as a city its props. The answer to that extreme, secularity is not to retreat and run. You have to build a religious culture of your own inside of that larger culture.
Yeah.
You have your own places that you go for entertainment. You have your own places that you go to dine. You have your own classes and halakat and book clubs and everything else where the worldview that you represent is normative.
Yeah.
Even if it's not in the larger society, we've created those kind of spaces.
Yeah.
And then we've invited the larger society to participate in those spaces so that they don't become these kind of very cultic spaces where we come in, engage in this highly choreographed kind of religious performance, and then go to work and just do what everybody else does.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of Muslims do. But no, we're actually inviting to look, this is better. And I think, I'm talking too much, bro.
I appreciate it. Just to caveat, I know we only got like a minute left, but what was I about to say? Oh, yes. And again, we could talk all night on this. It's late. I know you're tired. I'm tired as well. One thing I've noticed is choosing on where you live in the country, dealing with some of the secular ideologies become more prevalent or not.
Yeah, like in Texas, folks are probably gonna be more religious.
I didn't want to say it, but straight up,
my
kids can play on the street, and everybody on this street ain't no Muslim. The only Muslims on the street probably are the ones that don't talk to us. Actually, all the non-Muslim kids, they play. They don't swear. They this and that. They bedtime this time. I mean, a lot of times is where you live too, man.
True.
And that affects it. Again, I want to end on a positive note.
Yeah, let's do that.
You said it. The earth is ours. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the earth is vast, right? The earth is vast. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the earth is our masjid. Wherever you spiritually grow, may Allah put barakah in your journey. May Allah put barakah in your children's journey.
Amen.
Those who choose to stay in these lands that are difficult to grow, and may Allah bless them with strength of iman to push against. I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna go. Are you into any level of gardening, Shaykh? Any level?
No, I should be, but I'm not. Yeah.
Okay, so I did a little bit. I dabbled a bit, right? COVID made us all try different stuff. You know what I mean? Okay. So listen to this. When you growing like a little tomato plant, you could start in your house, right? And when it gets to a certain size, there's the camera. When it gets to a certain size, you got to start putting it outside. And why you do that is called weathering the plant. And what weathering the plant means is when the plant is feeling the wind against it, the plant learns to grow a thicker stalk. It'll blow, and then it learns that, oh, it's wind. I have to build a defense to this. But if you never put it out in the wind, and just one day you take it out, the first wind will come and knock it down. All I'm trying to say is a lot of people growing up in Muslim countries, they never been weathered.
Yeah, no. They say
never been weathered, Habibi. They never been weathered.
A strong wind will knock them down, and they say that
never been weathered. And if you grow up here, the problem is, I'm gonna say this: people are like, my children. The house is the first place of learning.
That's true.
It got to start here. You can't outsource what God made as your responsibility.
That's true.
You feel me? But again, I want to leave positive.
No. It's positive, and as they say, prepare the child for the road. Don't prepare the road for the child. You see, some people, they want to go and make everything in the society conform to what they want for their children. No, prepare your children for rugged and difficult terrain. But if a person looks out there and they feel like, you know what, that terrain is a little too rugged for my taste, I think I'm gonna seek greener pastures or smoother roads. I can't knock that. But we're here. Yes. We're here, and we're trying to the best of our ability to practice Deen here and to share the beauty of this religion with our neighbors. And I pray that Allah gives us tawfiq in that.
I mean, Shaykh, I know I said the last thing, but I have one small thought I want to share with you. I promise.
No, go ahead. Shoot your shot. Shoot it.
One thing that I think it's been really good, Hijrah has been really good, is for some of the elderly in our community. American cities aren't built for pedestrians. You can't walk nowhere. Dallas, you can't walk to a store. You can't walk to the masjid.
I think Chicago might be a little different than that.
Chicago is. You're right. Chicago. What I've seen is, I'm talking the older like the grandparents. I've seen a few that have said, you know what? I like the small town. I like the small, I like that. And I've seen that as a beautiful type of little retirement, low key.
No. I mean, look. Some people, when they make hijrah, it's not out of like trying to escape or retreat. It's like, look, I've done everything that I can, whatever contribution that I could make to Islam in America, I've made. Yeah. And now I just want to live close to a blessed place, pray my 5 daily prayers in the masjid, and prepare to meet Allah. Yeah. I respect that.
Yeah, me too.
They're breaking it down to the seconds now. We got to get going. We got to get out of here. MashaAllah.
Jazakallah khair, barakallah feek to both of you. May Allah bless you for your time. I want to respect both of your times, mashallah, but everyone in the chat is just saying how beneficial this is. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. I love what Sister Jessica here said. We're able to bloom where we are. And I love that analogy of the tomato plant. Inshallah, we got to send a couple tomato plants and some rice garden beds to Shaykh Ubaydullah's residence, if that's cool. Inshallah. Jazakallah khair, barakallah feek to both of you. Inshallah, we'll see you soon.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.